Stacey Abrams, okay? A black woman who knows how to go into rural America and talk to them, but also not diss black folks and Latinos. All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment. Hey, folks, if you're looking for a hot new investment opportunity, I have two things I want you to think about: illegal marijuana and crowdfunding. Now, you just let that sink in for a second. Our friends at Transatlantic Real Estate have created a unique opportunity for everyday investors like you to get in the game for a minimum of $300 or $10,000, 50 grand, or even $100,000. You can get in where you want to fit in. Now, typically, it takes millions, if not billions, to invest in the legal marijuana industry, and it can be pretty risky trying to establish market share. However, Transatlantic Real Estate is taking a different approach. They buy the land that supports marijuana grow operations and lease it to licensed, high-paying tenants. Now, imagine being a landlord to a licensed marijuana farm. With the prospects of further legalization and changing public perceptions about marijuana, some investors could end up making serious money over the next several years. The best part is they are using crowdfunding, so you can get in now before they take the company public. If you want to find out more, go to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org to get in now. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video. Those polls are there showing they are essentially tied. And guess what? She got a phone call 3 days ago, which blew her out of the water when she answered her cell phone, and it was Oprah on the line. And Oprah showed up today, had 2 rallies for Stacey Abrams in Georgia, even went door knocking on her behalf. Here is some of Oprah at today's campaign event for Stacey Abrams.
The right to vote is like the crown we all get to wear. Maya used to say, baby, your crown has been paid for, so put it on your head and wear it. So your crown's been paid for. The right to vote is your crown. So this is a tight race here in Georgia. This is tight. And there are tight races all over this country that depend on all of us giving honor to our greatest democratic right and privilege. So let your vote make the difference. Let your vote count. Let your vote speak for you. If you're a woman, let me just talk to the women for a minute. If you're a woman, you need to recognize it hasn't even been 100 years since we even had the right to vote, since we were considered a piece of property. You couldn't even own a piece of property. I love land so much, and I think, boy, if I was born at the turn of the century, 20th century, I wouldn't even have the right to own the land without your father or your husband saying it was so. You didn't have the right to even take care of yourself. So you didn't have a voice, and now we do. We as women people need to stand united and vote our values. Vote your values. Vote your conscience. All this noise, all the noise, you just can't get away from it. You turn on the TV, it's so much noise and crazy talk. All the vitriol in the ads, you know what? They are designed to confuse and confound you with fear. That's what they're done. They're designed to confound you with fear. They are not designed for people with discernment. Women, people, we have discernment. And when you know the right thing and you can feel it, you can feel what is the right thing to do, you can't be influenced by propaganda and fear. So now is the time for discernment. And only when we unite as sisters, and I don't just mean sisters, I mean sisters, black sisters, brown sisters, white sisters, Asian sisters, LGBTQ sisters. When we all unite, I know for sure a change is going to come. So I'm here today to support a change maker. She's a woman who dared believe that she could change the state of Georgia. And she is dynamic. She is so inspired and inspiring. She's bold. She's bold. She's bold and bodacious. She's a Georgia warrior woman. Ladies and gentlemen, Stacey Abrams.
All right, folks, that was Oprah, of course, campaigning for Stacey Abrams, and then a little bit later, she went door to door. And surprised to say, this sister was a wee bit shocked.
She's home. Hi, Denise.
Hi, Oprah.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Good. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise! I am shocked.
Surprise. So I'm canvassing for Stacey Abrams.
Yes.
Are you voting for her?
I absolutely am.
You are voting for her.
Yes.
Do you have an early voting plan?
I do.
All right, well, as I said, it's a very tight race there in Georgia. There's supposed to be a debate tomorrow on WSB TV, but Brian Kemp said, he can't make it for the 5 p.m. debate because he's going to be at the Trump rally at 4 p.m. That's kind of sucks because he actually agreed, Malik, to actually be at the debate. He worked it out. He said it was going to be there. But then when Trump comes, I can't make it. I'm just saying, what's more important, your word to debate your opponents or to stand with Trump 100 miles away?
Well, Georgia voters have a right to be concerned about it. I mean, if they were expecting him to attend the debate.
I mean, he agreed on the date and the time.
He agreed, but, at the same time, it's the president of the United States.
But he agreed on the debate and the time.
Totally understand, but I can imagine that if it were the same and it was Barack Obama who's a candidate, who was campaigning for a candidate, I'm pretty sure that candidate would go.
And your party would be slamming that Democratic candidate for not showing up and keeping the word.
Hypocritical, the whole 9 yards. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you here, but I mean, I imagine that he would go.
Monique, this race, again, very, very close. I mean, Stacey Abrams can very well win this race. The difference here is that with her Georgia Voter Project, she was playing long ball, something Democrats somehow can't do. And that is, because I remember in 2012 standing, was on CNN, and Chris Van Hollen, then was a member of Congress, member of the House, and he was over the DCCC, and I talked about Georgia potentially being purple. He kind of like poo-potted, and I said, dude, if you put the damn money into Georgia and register the very people who are unregistered, you can have a shot at actually winning. I said, which is the same thing in Texas. I said, that's why y'all asses keep losing.
Right. And what I'm hoping that the people who have not voted yet in Georgia can understand later on in the Q&A when Oprah was asking Stacey Abrams questions about what she would do, one of the first things that she talked about was Medicaid expansion. That's not just for black folks,
all y'all broke, sick-ass white folks.
Hello.
The myth lives.
All you
Georgia.
broke. Okay.
Hello.
Let me real clear. Broke, sick-ass white people.
Listen, because that Medicaid
There are more of them
expansion,
than of us.
she talked about how many counties don't have a doctor. It's not that they don't have a hospital, they don't have a doctor. So women, particularly women of color, are dying within a year of childbirth. They're stroking out and can't get to a hospital. They are dying of things that they should not die from. Come on, y'all.
Greg Carr in North Carolina, when Reverend Barber and others had Moral Mondays, when those rural hospitals closed, the first person that died was a white woman who had to be airlifted some 60 miles away. And Reverend Barber told the story of being at a parade, and his redneck with a Confederate flag around his neck walked up to him with tears in his eyes saying, thanks for fighting for our hospitals. I mean, and this is why I think Abrams is playing this thing right, and why McCaskill is an idiot, in that what Abrams is saying to these rural white voters is, y'all sick. And if you lose your hospital, that man is not going to expand Medicaid. That's how you actually message rural voters. She's not trashing her own party. She's saying, y'all sick, y'all broke. I'm here to save your hospital. He ain't. Greg?
That's right, Roland. You've been saying that for years. And last week you mentioned the Jesse Jackson campaigns of 1984 and 88. Doing that very thing, going to poor whites and saying, these are the issues that we have in common. Reverend Barber's fusion politics in North Carolina is yielding results. Stacey Abrams is clearly the wave of the future. We saw today that Dagan McDowell on Fox News said that woman is going to get elected because of Oprah. Oprah transcends in many ways those kind of racial divides, and they're bringing her in to get those suburban white women. Finally, what you said is absolutely true. Contrasting with Missouri, Claire McCaskill is a politician of the past. she can probably not reform herself. But when you see in this next cycle, these waves of black and brown, younger politicians, even progressive white politicians like Beto O'Rourke in Texas, begin to run toward the issues, I think what we're seeing is the future of American politics.
Scott?
Oprah is a secret weapon and a pretty good campaigner. Kemp is going to the rally because he gets more out of that rally than he could ever do in going one-on-one against Stacey Abrams. Have you seen the debates? I mean, I'll be honest with you, the debates in Florida and Georgia have made it clear that the Democratic candidates who happen to be African-American and really smart are just doing a number on them. So, Stacey, don't forget this, too. They may be issue-driven in regard to these candidates of the future, but Stacey Abrams has a ground game in Georgia that is far superior than her Republican opponent. I was on Fox last night with the head of CPAP.
You on Fox last night?
I was, but
y'all won't call this brother.
I keep telling them, Roland, to call you. But even he did not concede.
They like safe brothers.
He did not concede, but he clearly acknowledged. Come on, he clearly acknowledged that she had a really, really strong ground game.
Again, because 6 years ago,
exactly.
Because 6 years
Georgia
ago,
Voter Project.
the Georgia Voter Project, which was nonpartisan,
right.
She understood you can't keep hoping and praying like white Democrats in Georgia. Oh, the white women in the suburbs, if we could just appeal to them, they're going to roll our ways.
But this is even better.
What she said is, look, I ain't wasting my time with them. I'm going to go after you, those who are disaffected, disenfranchised. I'm going to pull y'all out. That's how she dusted her opponent in the primary.
No, I agree. But what the Voter Project did was register lots of unregistered voters.
300,000.
But what Stacey has done is the second leg, that is always the second leg of voter registration, is Go TV, get out the vote.
Yes.
Having a mechanism in place to deliver those who registered and making them go vote. You got to have both now going forward. And they've got a game plan down there that is almost scientific and vis-a-vis the internet. And so she's got a shot, a real shot.
Part of her game plan that everybody can help with today, you don't even have to be in Georgia, is get on the phones and call. She's asking everybody in Georgia, if you've already voted, get 5 people to the polls. But if you're not in Georgia,
call
go to
your
her website
and
get listed for the phone bank and make at least 5 calls a day. Y'all, this is razor thin. She needs 50
This ain't even going to the website.
Yeah.
This all the folks you know in Georgia. Call them, text them, cuss them out. Do whatever you need, bribe them, tell them, look, I'll take you to go get a 3-piece, take you behind to the polls, something. But do what you got to do. That's what you got to do. But Malik, I want to go to you and finish your last point on this. Bottom line is here. Brian Kemp said it. Look, if she can turn the people out, we're afraid. But this is also where Brian Kemp also can tag her as this candidate who somehow is far left.